Good Tuesday, everybody, and welcome once again to another edition of Pins on Campus. I am Mark Jeffries, along with my co-host, Jonathan Byer. Got it right?
The one and only.
Yeah, dude, I'm all over it. And we are going to talk college bowling and anything else that we want to talk about. We didn't have a show last week, but that's okay. I know you're a busy man, and quite honestly, I am buried for all kinds of reasons. I'm trying to move.
Time of year.
Dude, yep. I'm trying to move. I'm trying to sell my house. I had open house going on. I'm trying to bowl myself a little bit in the SASBA tour, trying to get things ready for sectionals, trying to drill bowling balls up, trying to not utilize urethane for the players. And we are extremely excited about next week. And I know your group, your team making sectionals for the first time, it's got to be a good time, man.
Oh yeah. That's, we've kind of always just ended the season at the same time. And now this year we get that little bit of extension, but it's been exciting for all those guys to take ownership in the preparation because you do start preparing completely different. It's all Baker. So you go full head of steam into that kind of preparation and what that means. And of course, like you said, Mark, now the urethane balls are out of the bags. There's nothing we can do about it. So we've been trying to do some research and discovery on some other options and see what's out there. So that's been a point of emphasis as well. But just the energy around postseason preparation, I think, is a lot of fun. So we've enjoyed it.
And it's kind of like the U.S. Open this week. No urethane.
Yeah. Have you watched some squads?
A little bit this morning.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting to see the A squad break them down compared to what the B squad did. The scores were a little bit higher. I felt like on B squad, they made that jump left where a lot of guys in A squad were trying to play the ditch and play a little bit down and in, and then made the jump a little later. But extremely challenging. And quite honestly, I can't wait for Thursday. Thursday, basically 1-to-1, 35 foot. What are they going to do?
Right. That's going to be the day, right? There's always one of the U.S. Open pattern days. It's like, that's going to be the one everybody wants to watch. And I think it was day 4 last year, if I remember correctly, that one that looked really funky.
Yeah.
And then it turned out to not play like the graph reads. It was more of a eye trick. But I did notice that too, as far as the difference between A and B squad. You definitely knew that those guys were watching A squad and they saw what worked and what didn't and quickly made the adjustment. So.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, man. Fun tournament. Obviously, one of the most challenging events in this sport for everybody that is at the highest level of this game, being a professional or an international player that gets to dip their toes in the pool on these very, very challenging patterns. And quite honestly, with it being a major, it's the way it should be. Agree?
Agreed.
All right.
Agreed.
Not the way it should be all the time, but definitely for U.S. Open and for what I believe the Masters, it no doubt should be this way.
Yeah, exactly. And they always talk about at the end of the week when you get to the telecast how many games these guys bowled and how they got there, and it was a grind and it was hard, and scores were lower at times. I think you need a little bit of that in the fold of things in the regular.
All right, we haven't had a chance to talk after what took place in your home practice center with the Players Championship. Brandon Bonnet shooting 300, first time on television, bowling the greatest bowler in the world right now, E.J. Tackett. And what's funny? There is a college twist to this. Obviously, he bowled collegiately at Wichita State and all that. But on the USBC collegiate site for transfers, it still has his picture on there with his Wichita State jersey. Did you notice?
I didn't even notice that. No, I didn't even look for that. That's funny.
Either that or team rankings. I don't know which one it was, but yeah, they still have
the stock pictures.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, that was what a watch that was for just fans of the professional tour, but then also, a lot of guys that maybe have a little vested interest in college bowling. That was a name that was synonymous with college bowling, I felt like,
Spencer,
for 4 years.
Spencer Robar.
Yeah, him too. Yeah. And the fact that they opened against each other was a really cool storyline to follow in. We got to watch a little bit of qualifying obviously that was in the area as well, so we got to see a little bit of that. But then I think the TV show is just a good opening week for the tour. A nice, solid opening to a new season.
Yeah. Throw in Ryan Barnes in that trio of Wichita State alums. TJ Rock, who's having a great week so far at the U.S. Open. It kind of makes you wonder how many national championships they should have won. Or does it not?
It does. That team, there's a lot of firepower in one room.
So why is it they didn't win 4 national championships or whatever?
Well, if I was in the room, I might be able to tell you. I don't know. They should have a few. Like
how many did that group? Did they win any?
2, maybe 1 or 2.
Okay. I think 1 or 2. I don't know. I should have looked that up. I've got all these other stats here that we're going to go over because
you got all the notes except for
that
last 6 years basically of national championship winners.
I didn't think
about that. Mark, which national championship are you talking about?
That's always a good response if you're a coach, is it not? Or a player?
Right. All right. Which one are we talking about?
How many? Let me see how many rings I got in my hand here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always discussed, but obviously one of the best programs ever in the history of collegiate bowling, and will continue if that takes place and they continue the tradition and things keep rolling on and moving on down the road. I'm sure they're going to be a favorite this year. Obviously, they are in our sectional along with Newman, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But I do want to mention we do have a guest tonight, Quincy University. And I mentioned Quincy University a couple of shows ago when we talked to Aquinas and Coach K at Aquinas. I think that the Aquinas and the Quincy championship that they won at the Mid-States Tier 1, the very first Tier 1 of the year, is probably the two most or the coolest stories in college bowling so far this year. Now, obviously with sectionals to come and trips to the nationals on the slate, but I think that those two accomplishments, even though Aquinas didn't win, I still think what they did at the Hoosier and with Quincy beating Wichita State 4-1 or 3-1 on their home floor in Wichita, Kansas, was unbelievable.
Yeah, impressive feat by that squad. And they were kind of
they went on to beat Newman.
Yeah. Early on in the season, they were just a buzzsaw in the match play portion of these tournaments.
Yeah, so we're gonna touch base with Coach Kyle Egan, get his take. The other thing is, when I talked to him and set this show up, Jonathan, he wasn't really aware of the CBAA. He knew a little bit of it, but he didn't really know a whole lot about it. So we're gonna spring that on it. Now, this guy is a busy man. You know why he's a busy man? For 2 reasons. He is the men's coach, but he is also the NCAA women's coach too. That's
a full-time schedule right there.
Just like we know Coach Hayes at Oklahoma Christian does the same thing. And I'm sure there's other coaches across the nation that are battling the same busy schedule. But he has to make back-to-back trips to Smyrna, Tennessee. Yep.
For the NCAA tournament and then back for sectionals a week later.
So we'll get his take on that sectional, because I know our sectional's tough, but I think if you look at the combination of all the programs at Smyrna, that might be the toughest one. What do you think?
I would agree. Yeah, that's on the men's side at least. I haven't looked at the women's side that much, but on the men's side at least, there's a significant amount of really good teams in that Tennessee sectional. I think Dallas is a close second, maybe a team or so shy of that level of strength, but those are definitely the top 2 sectionals.
I'm going to see if I can pull it up here. Let's see if this works. Let's see here. Oh, look at this. How about that?
Look at that.
Okay, so you have Wisconsin, Whitewater, Weber, SCAD, Purdue, Belmont Abbey, Tennessee Wesleyan, Emmanuel, Lindenwood, Quincy, and Baker. That's just the first sheet.
That's a stout 10 right there.
That is brutal.
Yeah.
And how about the trip from Wisconsin all the way down to Tennessee? And do you not look at this as saying that, okay, well, Wisconsin Whitewater is the number 1 seed in that sectional?
That's what that infers, because they are the highest ranked team in that sectional.
Do you think they are the number 1 seed in that sectional? You're not going to get in trouble by what you say, Jonathan.
No.
Who do you think if you had the seedings in the sectional, who would be the number 1 seed?
I think Weber would be 1, SCAD 2, Whitewater 3.
Okay, I'm going to disagree with you. Then I really going to disagree with you. I think Whitewater, number 1, SCAD, number 2, Weber, number 3. Are you going to ask me why, Mark?
Sure, Mark. Why?
Well, did you know that this past week, that Weber and SCAD actually had a little one-on-one match? Were you aware of this?
I remember seeing something about it. On
yeah,
Facebook,
and SCAD defeated Weber 4-0 and had the front 9 in game 4. Now, it wasn't our format, but it was the Baker-style format. And the other thing that I thought of, I was like, hey, I wonder if both of those schools counted that event as one of their 14 events, because they're only allowed to do 14.
Right.
They're both NAIA schools. Is that correct?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I believe they are, yeah.
So hopefully they did not exceed their number of 14 events. All right. Now, you know who the sleeper in this region or section? I keep calling it a region. I'm so used to basketball.
There's a valid argument for calling it a regional, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who the underdog is? And I don't know if you really classify him as an underdog, but who would you pick? Do I need to go to page 2?
No.
Is your underdog on this page?
It is, yeah.
Who would your underdog be?
My underdog would be Purdue.
Yeah, but they're like the number 4 seed. That's not really an underdog.
Yeah, but if we want to get some historical data going here, Mark, programs that have had
I'm way past
a lot of success in sectionals in past years, you wouldn't necessarily pick them at the top.
How about Tennessee Wesleyan?
Underdog?
HFA? Home field advantage? Huh?
Sure.
Maybe?
Sure.
I still think that it is a very, very challenging sectional to finish in the top 4 with the stout blue bloods that are in this sectional. Agree?
I agree.
All right, moving on. But yeah, I thought that was it was the battle of the Bone family in the SCAD versus Weber.
I think part of the problem when you're talking about favorites, underdogs, all that stuff for these sectionals, is the order in which they're ranked or the numbers you see beside them.
Yeah.
Yes, that represents the season-long power, whatever rankings we want to call it. But I don't believe that to be an accurate representation about where those teams currently are in this season as far as how good they are. It's not an AP poll. But
we could do an entire week of shows for 7 consecutive days about the ranking system.
We need to get somebody on here that knows the system really well and just see what we can figure out about it.
Does strength of schedule come into play?
No, but it should.
Agree.
I mean, look at every year I feel like we have this conversation when they're doing the selections for the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Right? Especially the teams that may not be in as good of a conference as the SEC or Big Ten.
Yeah. What
do they go to first? Well, who'd they play? Who'd they schedule out of conference? I mean,
great point, man.
You could make the same argument in bowling, I think, quite easily, because you can't tell me that a 14 or 15 team field in the Southwest is the same as a 14 or 15 team field in the Northeast.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So I'm going to ask you this question: the players, or not the players, but the players and the programs that are on page 2 of every sectional in the nation, do they realistically have a shot at one of those 4 spots?
Yes, they do, but they have to get everything right. They have to make sure they have to make sure they have their T's crossed, their I's dotted, like all the good stuff. I mean, because I've seen teams, that come in on that second page that, make a flirt for that 4th spot. I would say a team from that second page getting into the top 3 would be very difficult. But I've also seen it to where any of those teams on the front page could get off to a really bad start on Saturday, or something happens, and they just not quite recover.
64
it happens
games.
Every year, at least one of the sectionals for sure, that you kind of see that flip. But 64 games is a lot of games. A lot of games, man. A lot can happen. Yep.
All right, now I have some homework for you, since you are located right there in the center of the college bowling HQ. I am curious, what has been the highest ranked, or actually lowest ranked, not highest, but the highest number, the lowest ranked team to make it to nationals in, say, the last 20 years?
Okay.
Since 2000.
I'll dive into the data. We'll see.
Wouldn't you?
I'm curious too.
Yeah.
I
want to know.
Because if it was somewhere, I would be surprised if it was anywhere north of like 40.
I think it's going to be above 25. And when I say above, lower than 25.
Yeah, I could see it being between 25 and 40, but I can't see it being any further than 40 for some reason.
I would be shocked if somebody that was ranked between 25th and 40th that made it to nationals. But we'll see. We'll see about that. All right,
you never know, I guess.
I want to mention one thing, and then I've got another topic. Our guest is going to join us somewhere in between 7 and 7:15. He was wrapping up practice, said he had no problem making it, though. I want to let everybody know, and I want to let you know, that one of the greatest collegiate teams in the history of collegiate bowling that never won a national championship. Do you know what team I'm talking about, Jonathan?
Would this be West Texas A&M?
That is correct.
And I'm trying to think of I don't think I'm going to have the years right, though. But it was a long time ago. They weren't even West Texas A&M at the time, right? It
was West Texas State.
West Texas State, yeah. Long time ago. This was Scroggins' era.
Yes. Mark McDowell was also on that team.
McDowell, yeah.
And there was another guy named Mark, and I can't remember his name.
I can't either. But I know the era you're talking about. Yeah.
They only had 5. That was it.
And now they're all USBC Hall of Famers or whatever nowadays, and never won a national championship.
Because of Mark Scroggins, who was also the coach at West Texas State / West Texas A&M for a zillion years, has now retired. And I thought it would be cool. He was also the commissioner for our conference, the Southwestern Intercollegiate Bowling Conference, to get him on the show. But the only night that he can do it is on a Monday night. Now, I don't remember. Do you bowl league on Monday night?
Occasionally.
Okay, so if we get this set up, not for next Monday, but the Monday after that, maybe, or maybe the Monday after that, is, Monday night is the only night I want to get him on the show.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. I think he is well-deserved, and I don't think some people out there, at least in the college bowling scene, understand the importance of Mark, and not only as a player, but also as a coach and as the commissioner for so many years. And he's got some incredible stories.
Yeah.
And
yep.
for him not
He's
to
been
win
around
a
the game a long
national
time.
championship was crazy.
He's got stories about that, stories about when he bowled tour events. Yeah, he's a good storyteller and one of the nicest people I've met in this industry as well. Just a great guy, great person. So
Absolutely.
let's make that happen.
We're gonna get Mark Scroggins on here in the coming weeks. All right. The next thing I want to bring up is we looked at the sectional in Tennessee. Do you think after 50 years that maybe it's finally time to have a Division I and a Division II for a USBC Collegiate Championship? Has the time finally arrived?
I think purely by number of teams, yes. Now, how would you divide between Division I, Division II? What's going to be your parameter to decide that?
I think you have to do it because they have all the data, correct? I'm assuming that they have all the data.
They have it all, yeah. So right. What makes a D1 team a D1 team? What makes a D2 team a D2
It would have to be a point system that is created based upon performance. Right? Either utilizing sectionals or developing a system that uses the tier ones, or I think the sectional route might be the best to go in because most of the teams that are competitive are accepting the invitation to bowl sectionals over the years. So I think it would probably be a point system that is based upon your performance over the last 20 years in sectionals. Yes or no?
Sure. I can get down with that.
It would be really interesting to see who would be D1 and who would be D2 and what the numbers would be.
And then would it be like if somebody were to move between D1 and D2, is there like a 2-year period in which, it's set ahead of time they're going to move, or a 1-year period, or is it just every year it's just reevaluated based on the algorithm?
That's a great point. I don't know. I don't have the answer. But
that would be something to think about too, as you talk about the totality of what a D1 and D2 system means. But I do think it would help with competitiveness for sure, because you would have a better chance. Basically, the way you could say is when you looked at the sectionals, Mark, page 1 and page 2, there you have page 1 in Division 1, page 2 is Division 2. Yeah. If you were to group those 10 teams within each other, I think it's a much more competitive tournament for sure.
Do you remember or recall, isn't the ladies on the NCAA side, isn't there going to be a Division I and Division II champion this year?
I just know that they are now a championship sport within NCAA. I don't know what that means.
I should have looked that up before.
Split, but
I did not think about that, but I believe either that or there was a motion for that in the latest NCAA meetings that took place a month ago, I think is what it was. But I don't know.
I would assume not, because just by looking at the ranking sheet, everybody's still as one combined.
They are?
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to look at something, but I didn't have what I thought I had. So maybe not. Maybe not. Could it work with USBC Collegiate?
What?
Could it work with USBC Collegiate?
It could. Anything could work, Mark.
Yeah, I know. It's
all got to be passed along and dropped on the desk with reasonable explanation.
All right.
Hey, you know what's happening in 11 days, Mark?
What's that?
This is right up your alley. March Madness Selection Day.
Oh.
We set the bracket for March Madness in 11 days.
That's fantastic. My favorite time of the year.
Do you sit there and just consume college basketball for a couple straight weeks?
1,000%. In fact, you know what I did? My oldest son, for his 21st birthday, you know what we did? We went to Las Vegas for March Madness.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And we watched as many games as we could. We wagered on a few. It is, Vegas is not the same that it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when he turned 21. But it was a blast because even if you only got $20 on a game or whatever, I mean, we're not betting hundreds of thousands of dollars here. It was a fun adventure. And when you have 30 different flat screen TVs and projectors and all this stuff going on, it is definitely an overload. Which brings me to another point. Can you imagine if we had that for college bowling? How cool would that be?
Well, think about it. What makes March Madness such a big deal?
The underdog.
It's the fact. It's the
fact
underdog,
that it's, man.
Well, that anybody can win, right? And if you're in the dance, you're in the dance.
Yeah.
But think about how accessible it is to watch all the games, right? There's an app. There's a platform. If you want to watch 4 games at once, by all means, watch 4 games at once.
Okay, there's people that put a bracket together that have no idea what a man-to-man or zone defense is.
Oh, they have no idea what any of the college basketball teams are or who they are, where they're from, any of the players.
They're just picking teams, man.
It draws people in because of just the accessibility of it and the exposure of it. It's a great time of year to consume college sports.
It is good. So I am definitely looking forward to that. But I can't imagine how cool it would be for collegiate bowling, both on the men's and the women's side, if there was a 64-team bracket that we crowned a champion. Now, theoretically, everybody would have a chance on that, especially in our format that we are putting forth in the CBAA. So something to work toward, and that's what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. What else do I have on my notes here?
Oh,
do you have any notes? You don't have any notes?
No, I just let it rip. We're just going off the cuff today.
All right, here next up, and I don't know if you want to get into this, and we will cut away from it if our guest shows up in the studio. Urethane is banned next week. And when I say next week, I'm talking about the sectionals. Should urethane be banned the entire season? Yes or no?
Ooh, no.
Why?
I think it's a tool that exists within our sport, so we should be able to use it. And part of that is also coming from a team who does have a deal with a bowling ball manufacturer. Our job to work within the framework of the contract is to showcase all of the tools that that manufacturer provides to us to be able to use.
Mm-hmm.
And if we are limiting pieces of that out of the equation, then we're not fulfilling the objective. So, for example, and this is what we're talking about, so we'll just get right into it. The purple urethane, Brunswick sells, or Hammer sells the purple urethane. We are a Brunswick-sponsored school.
Mm-hmm.
Our job is to showcase that equipment.
Yes.
We want to be able to throw it. If we're told we can't throw it, then there's certain product lines or certain items, then all of a sudden we're not being able to showcase. Now, that is obviously a very finite example for a team like ours or a team like yours, Mark, that works with a specific bowling ball manufacturer for things. Mm-hmm. But in addition to that, I think a lot about the club programs, the student-led organizations where they don't have big bowling ball budgets. They're often just finding equipment where they can. These guys are getting into college with mainly their youth arsenals at the time. They don't have the resources to build out a whole new arsenal designed around the exclusion of one particular type of bowling ball. So that's another part of the conversation as well. If it was up to me and I could make the final decision to make it easy, because we have guys who in college, and a lot of guys do at competitive organizations, they like to go bowl the PBA regionals and events like that. The 78 hardness rule should just be the blanket across the board for us too, because then I think that solves a few of the problems, but also gives us the ability to still have that as a tool.
No, I like that. Now, my next question is going to be, should it be disallowed in tier ones?
So
I'm putting you on the spot, man.
I understand the reasoning, but why are we changing the rules based on what tournament we're going to? Okay. I can't get my head. I mean, I understand it. Yeah. I don't want to understand it because I think it's kind of dumb.
So,
lack of better words.
Should we be able to use urethane at sectionals?
If we've used it all year in the regular season, we should be able to use it in the postseason for that year. Now, if next year, if they were like, hey, it's 78 hardness all year, great. We've game planned our whole season. We've earned the points we've earned from that rule book, right? It would be like the NASCAR schedule. They go 35 races with a certain weight limit rule. And then the last race, the championship race, they're like, oh, we're going to change the weight limit rule. Well, all your setups that you had, that you tested, or things you tried for the first 35 races, they're not going to help you a whole lot now. So not saying that we can't be versatile and adapt and things like that. I know that's an argument out there, but if you've used it all year, it should go through the entire course of the year. That includes the championship segment.
I get it. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Do you like the idea if they were to just say, hey, there's one rule that's going to cover the board? Do you like that 78 hardness rule just being an easy one to say, here, you have your urethane balls, but it's only these 3 or 4?
I do. Yeah.
Because it's a tool we could use. I mean, don't get me wrong.
But here's where I'm going to throw it out, though, is if you're going to do that, and people may look at me very strange, but I'm willing to do it. I'm going to invest in a durometer. And if I ever see a bowling ball and I think it's too soft and I can stick my thumbnail in it, it's going to be checked. And if there's anybody out there using a ball that is below 78 hardness, and quite honestly, I get it. Some balls get softer with age, but I think it's the player and the program's responsibility that if you're going to go to a 78 rule, you better check that ball before you ever put it on the rack and make sure that it's not 78 or even close to it.
And you brought up tier ones, Mark. What do we do for all tier ones? We turn in ball carbs.
Yeah, but
so wherever urethane exists within every program, if you want to spot check them, go check them.
I've never heard of that happening, though. Have you?
Well, doesn't mean it can't happen. Get it out. Let's go. I mean, challenge flag system's going to come out, Mark.
I know. I know they're kind of pricey. I mean, they are. They're you can get one between $500 and $1,000 depending on the apparatus that it's surrounded by.
But if you're telling me you're hosting one of the few, I don't know how many there are, 8 to 10 maybe, tier ones in the USBC collegiate schedule. If you're telling me you're one of those 8 to 10 tournaments, you can invest in something like that travels around maybe to the different tier ones.
I agree.
I mean, I think there's simple solutions to most of these things, but they do require a little bit of thought and planning to them.
Yeah. Well, it's got to come to fruition through the association of the coaches and the cooperation between the entities and the coaches and the programs to be able to accomplish what is in the best interest of the game for all parties involved.
Yeah, I think that's where you ended that is, I think, the big point is what's at the best interest here? Well, it should be the student athletes first, but you should take into account the programs, the universities, the coaches, the players, the parents, the bowling centers, the proprietors. You have to get everybody involved in these conversations. It's not just a one-way street.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go on my soapbox for a minute, and it's not going to be the last time on this.
No, it won't.
But I'm telling you, recruits, if you are being recruited, and we're pretty much done. I mean, I have one more recruit coming on campus, and that's it. I mean, I'm pretty much done signing everybody with the exception of one. But if you have engaged with a coach at any time and you make a decision that you're going to attend XYZ University, then if you were talking to, Denham University, you need to reach out to that coach that you had communication with and let them know, hey, coach, man, I appreciate you reaching out to me, but I've decided that I'm going to go to XYZ. And I greatly appreciate that you took interest in me, and move on down the road. Because for coaches to find out, especially when you have recruited players for 2 years and you find out on a Facebook post that they are signing with XYZ University, Not cool. That's not cool. And if somebody out there wants to make an excuse, well, that's just the way these kids are and all that. Well, you know what? Whatever program you sign with, just as I do, the first thing I tell my recruits when they make the decision that they are going to sign at SNU is you got to make sure before we make any announcement, before you make a post, before you do anything, you reach out to any coach that you have come in contact with because you owe them that respect. And it just continually happens. What is going on, Jonathan?
It's not getting better. I'll tell you that. And a lot of it comes down to, like you said, the argument, oh, these kids nowadays. Well, we could teach them different.
We can.
Right? There's always a lesson to be learned, and so I have a very similar conversation with our recruits as well as we kind of get towards the final stages, and if there's a kind of a verbal agreement, hey, this is your window now before we start putting everything together. Let those other coaches know what your plans are. Because I'm not oblivious and know that if, we have something that's really close for a player, they might be able to have them, benefit them on the other side a little bit more by putting pressure on another school to maybe step up an athletic scholarship or something like that. Because I want what's best for the student athlete. Obviously, we want them to be part of our DBU bowling family, but our job is to find a home for them. And there's a right way to do that process. There's steps to follow along the way. There's a procedure. But like Mark is saying, the biggest portion of that whole process, that whole story, is just the respect to communicate and, be intentional with, how you're communicating. And there's a lot to unpack there, but Mark's soapbox is a strong one that I can get behind.
Time, money, effort. Those are three things that every single coach puts into a recruit, whether it's somebody that you talk to on the phone and they're just not interested, or somebody that you work like I did on recruiting a kid for 2 years. 2 years. Yep. And then boom, gone. I'm telling you, in other sports, it does not happen. It just doesn't. All right. And I was heavily involved in basketball recruiting and the way that and obviously the portal and NIL and a lot of that other nonsense is changed. But I would say the vast majority of coaches in other sport, they demand the respect and make sure that you reach out. Now, when you have 2,300 players in the portal, maybe even more, maybe that's gone by the wayside because of the way that college sports is just evolved with everything it's not even remotely close to the way it was 20 years ago. But for college bowling being as small as we are, come on, man, show a little respect for the people, for the coaches, for the programs that have taken an interest in you. And even if you don't want to go there, at least show a little respect.
Yeah,
fair enough.
100%. And I also think it's funny that they don't think that coaches talk to each other.
We talk to each other all the time. It's not like we don't cross paths.
Yeah. So it all can help you. It all can hurt you.
Hopefully, words of wisdom to any people that might cross paths with this little soundbite that we had there. All right, it is time to bring in our guest. I see that he is in the queue. Coach, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
So do you agree with me on that, or am I just totally out in left field by myself?
No, I totally agree. We put in a lot of effort, talking to different athletes, whether it's over the course of a couple weeks or 2 years, like you said, and just making sure that we can just get the courteous, hey, no, hey, just want to make sure, let you know, I'm going to go here instead of here. Totally, normal thing to do, just to let everybody on. Because personally, for myself, I send out like 20, 30, 40 texts a week to people who either, haven't responded since like November or, people who respond every week, just like, people who said they were interested at some point. And, some of them, don't respond. And 2 weeks later, I see they're committed, and others, they say, hey, I'm going to go somewhere else. No hard feelings. I say the same thing back, So I think it's totally, a normal thing to do for the athlete. Just go, hey, I'm going to go here. It helps us out a ton, helps them out a ton, so we're not bombarding them with texts and everything like that over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad you feel that way. All right. The main reason why we wanted to have you on is I said on a couple of episodes ago, two of the best stories in college bowling so far this year was your men's program and the program at Aquinas for what they did at the Hoosier and what you did at Mid-States. And Coach, I just got to say, home field advantage did not matter in Wichita, Kansas for what you did in the opening round match against Wichita, and then continue on to beat the other home field advantage team in Newman. I just want to know what were your thoughts, man?
I mean, it was incredible. In the moment, funny enough, I coach the men and the women here at Quincy.
Yeah.
And when they travel together, my men are USBC, women are NCAA, but very rarely do they get to travel together. And Mid-States is one of those events. And so, funny enough, Saturday I was with the men. I was, coaching behind them the whole time. Sunday I was with the women. And so I actually wasn't even behind them, the entire day of qualifying. My volunteer assistant was, because I was with the women helping them qualify. They ended up, jumping from like 12th to 8th to get into their bracket, and they ended up losing round 1. And so I'm getting, I'm calling one of my athletes. I'm like, it's the middle, it's like qualifying's over. Call one of my guys. Hey, like are we close? We got a chance? And he's like, we just shot 250 the last game. We might squeak in, how it is. And
yeah,
the women get announced. We squeak in on the women's side, get 8th. I'm on the phone. I'm like, hey, we just squeaked in. Like, text me, let me know. And then as I'm setting up the live stream on my phone, he texts us, yeah, we squeaked in an 8th by like 3 pins. We're bowling Wichita round 1. And I'm like, And so we end up bowling Sam Houston on the women's side. We lose, in I think 3 games. I think it was best of 5. I think it was best of 5 at Mid-States the entire way through. And so I checked my phone after the live stream and as the women's team are packing up and putting their stuff away, and one of my guys asked me, hey, we're up 2-1. And I go, really? And so I'm in the van. When I get that text, I run back in and I go, get in the van. We gotta get to North Rock immediately.
Yeah.
And so I'm rushing everybody, throwing bags left and right just to get them in the van. We drive like 15 minutes over to North Rock. Unfortunately, I didn't get there in time for us to watch them bowl Wichita, but I got the text halfway through saying we won. I was honking the horn. I was really excited, that we got that win round 1. And then I showed up while they're in the middle of practicing against Oklahoma Christian, and 3 or 4 shots in the practice, I'm like I think we're gonna win this. Like I've never seen the level of focus and determination and how they were ever. And 3 or 4 shots in, I was just like, I think we're the best team in the building right now. And they proved it through their shot making, their focus, their ability to just be good teammates together. It was incredible to watch the last 2 rounds qualifying. And I kind of went up to him like, look, I haven't been here all day. I'm not going to come up and, micromanage when it comes to, ball changes and stuff like that. You guys are on a great run. You guys are on the right page. I'm here for support. You need me, I'm here. But whatever we need to go moving forward is what we need to be. And they really leaned on each other that entire day of qualifying and that entire set of match play. And it really just helped them bring them over the top. It was great to see.
Awesome. I mean, we actually made the cut. That was our first tier 1 of the season 2. Mm-hmm. We made the cut. We bowled horribly in match play. And as we were walking out the building, I just glanced over at that match and I was like, holy cow, they're going to upset Wichita State.
Yeah.
And it ended up happening. And then you guys went on to earn a way into the championship match against Newman. And then you ended up beating Newman, 3-1, 4-1, something like that?
Yeah, 3-1. Yeah. And talk about home field advantages. It was the entire Newman population behind them. And then
Yeah.
our cheering squad was our women's team, and obviously myself and my volunteer right behind them. But it was our women's team versus the entire Newman population, and luckily we threw enough good shots and kept it close on our spares to come away with the win, which is really good.
All right. One question, then I'm gonna send it to you, Jonathan, and you actually talked about the challenges that you have in coaching both teams. And even though that was a USBC collegiate tournament, the challenge to coach a USBC men's program and an NCAA women's program, dude, you got to be just on fumes.
Yeah, this past weekend was my first off weekend, I think about 6 weeks.
Wow.
And then right now we're going to Nashville for Music City for the women this upcoming weekend. And then we have to turn around to go right back to Nashville for sectionals the next weekend. And then luckily the weekend after that, it's the last weekend of the year. We get the nice smooth drive down to St. Louis for our conference tournament for the women. And so it's a bit of a challenge just because when it comes to who can actually travel with the team, it's really just me. And unless I can get prior approval from my volunteers to travel with the men's team, which we ended up having to do just because a couple of our tournaments got canceled due to the weather. But I pretty much have to set the schedule to where they're completely separate pretty much every weekend, just because obviously the women can go to the men's tournaments, men can't go to the women's tournaments. And so the women have to have a little bit of priority when it comes to scheduling. And then I get the men's tournaments in when I can. And it's pretty much like men majority fall, women majority spring. And then just, they intertwine a little bit as the weeks go on, but it's a lot of weeks in a row, for both semesters. So I try my best to, help the guys out as best I can and the women and make sure that I can, stay upbeat. I'm used to it at this point. So it's my third year coaching. So we're definitely, a couple years in, ready to go with the kind of scheduling. So it's not too bad.
All right, Jonathan.
All right, I got two quick questions. Both of them may be equally as difficult to answer. We'll see. But stuff me and Mark talked about a little earlier in the show. One, we know upcoming sectionals, urethane, not on the table. Have you guys started to prepare for that earlier? Maybe it was excluded from some of the bags in previous tournaments, or did you go ahead and go through the regular season with all the tools and then just started preparing differently for sectionals?
Yeah, I kind of told the guys as soon as our last regular season tournament was going to be over, we banned urethane at practice. It's if it's not going to be allowed at in the postseason, no real reason to throw it in practice or really get used to the patterns we put out of practice on it. Just to get everybody ready for those who throw it pretty regularly, find another piece in their bag they can fit in that maybe either comes close to urethane or just something that they can use to transition off each ball as the day goes on. I got a couple of two-handed lefties that ride or died urethane all year that are I've been working with a ton just to figure out hey, what kind of reactive / urethane equipment can we get or can we suit up for you guys to make sure that we can feel comfortable still throwing good shots and not relying on the hammer or the black hammer all or the pitch black, whatever it is, the 78 stuff we have all year. And they've done a really good job of practice at just trying different equipment, getting ready with their own NUs and their levels and more recently their concepts, along with everybody else, kind of getting out of their purple hammers and their pitch blacks and making sure that they can get used to just having an extra piece that they can use versatility wise. So as soon as practice ended, or as soon as practice started, when the off season started, I was like, no urethane. I'm going to put out some patterns. We're going to work on what we're uncomfortable doing, just to make sure we can figure out every situation that we're going to be thrown in at sectionals to make sure that we can be as comfortable as we can for the best shots we can.
And also, you guys as a group historically, based on your match play appearances this season, I guess tend to think fondly of Baker formats because you've found some success there. We obviously know that sectionals, as far as the team portion is concerned, is the entirety of its Baker format. What's preparation looked like for your group over the past couple weeks?
I've really dug into not only just making sure everybody a part of the program can communicate effectively on the lanes, but make sure that our focus is really there. I know we're kind of going to go into the subject of, our specific sectional and, maybe the competition that's in it. And, over the last couple, this last week, this upcoming week, and then next week kind of going into sectionals with our practices, I'm like, look, like the reason why we did so well in Wichita, our confidence was at an all-time high, but our focus was at an all-time high. And one of the big things that I'm really going to be expecting out of my guys, and, I talked to him about this, just our focus has to be 100 times better than it was at Wichita for us to really feel like we got a chance. And we've been kind of practicing that same thing. No side conversations, goofing off in the middle of shots, no, disappearing to go get a snack or water in the middle of, other people taking shots. It's like when we're at sectionals, we're going to have 7 or 8 guys there. Everybody's watching every single shot. Everybody's facing forward. Nobody's, going off to the side doing random stuff and not paying attention. And then, imagine they come in to get a fill ball. They come up to the team like, all right, what do I do? It's like, you got to be, you got to understand where we're at, And so we've been doing practices where we've been straight up, hey, like no nonsense, ready to go. Communicate with your team, communicate with me, figure out, what equipment to use, that sort of thing, kind of just to get us ready for that mindset, because the guys who were there at section or at mid states, and the guys who weren't, we practiced with everybody together, and they talked a little bit about the focus they had and the confidence they had, and I want everybody a part of the program to kind of understand, like, hey, like we have a pretty competitive sectional, a lot of good teams there, we need to be at 110, 120%, to really feel like we got a chance, and so. I want us to make sure like our focus is 100% there, just like it was at that, mid-states match play, just like it was, team match when we got second place there, 100% eyes forward, only focused on bowling, only talking about bowling. And we've been kind of doing those kind of simulations in practices over the last couple of weeks.
Very nice. Now, is your squad fairly young? Do they have a lot of experience? I mean, how would you classify your squad, Coach?
I would say a lot of the experience has come this year. Okay. We have a couple seniors, that have been here my entire time here. We have like 1 junior, and then we have a majority sophomore and freshman. So it definitely more of a younger squad. Our normal traveling squad has been majority, sophomore. And so it's definitely a lot of their experience they got when it came to like match play, big pressure situations have been this year, at mid states, at team match, at, all of our events. And so they've gained a lot of really good experience, and I wanted them to kind of understand and take stuff away. It's like, look, like, we're doing really well this year, and we got a couple, and, we got the same team kind of going forward for the next, 2 to 3 years, based off of, how young the team is. And I would just want us to learn, communicate, still talk to each other, make sure we can all be on the same page whenever we're at events. And so we can continue the streak of, hey, we've done really well this year. We don't want to be a one and done team. We still want to be competitive going forward. Every year I've been here, we've gotten better and better ranking wise. And that's all the credit to, the guys just taking practice seriously and, adapting and really, taking everything in when it comes to the procedures and when it comes to our practices and stuff like that. And they've done a really, really good job this year, really just putting in all the focus and, putting their hands on the wheel and really driving forward when it comes to understanding how they know they're good, and they want to prove it. But it takes more than just, skill to be a good team in college bowling. And that's the kind of stuff I'm trying to teach them as the year goes on when it comes to that kind of experience, communication, stuff like that on the lanes and off the lanes as well.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. All right, I'm going to throw a graphic up. And when you saw this graphic for the first time, when they made the announcement, all right, be honest, what were your thoughts?
I just smiled. Honestly, like I made the same face I'm making now. I'm like, I'll be honest. It's a tough section. There's a lot of really good teams, a lot of teams with a lot of pedigree, a lot of teams with really good, squads. A lot of good performances this year, a lot of different events. But again, the guys understand that no matter what, there are going to be teams that are better than us, going in, whether ranking wise, skill wise, whatever. and we know we have to be at 110% to beat those teams, and we have beaten some of those teams, on the qualifying side, this year, and that kind of gives us, the confidence to, hey, we've beaten them, at a couple of events, the ones that we have bowled, and so we no reason why we can't do it again. Kind of like you guys said, Baker has been, one of our best areas this year, and coming in confident, humble, and just focused and prepared is where we're trying to be for sectionals next week, and kind of worry about ourselves, worry about our game, worry about doing as best we can, and just seeing how the pins fall and how many spares we can make and that sort of thing. It's kind of
filling frames, man. Got to fill frames.
Yeah, that's been our whole mantra. I talk about the amount of spares we missed last year that caused us to not come close to making nationals, and I'm just like, look, I'm not expecting to go from here to here. I'm like, let's just bring it. Like, let's feel like we can bring it, little by little each week. Let's get a little better each week. Let's take something away a little bit each week, so that when we finally get to sectionals week, we can have that confidence. Feel like, yeah, we're not going to miss, 200, 300, 400 pins and spares like we did last year. We can come in with confidence on every single one of our shots, focus on every single one of our shots, and really feel like, we have a chance, whether it's game 1 or game 63.
Very cool. All right, Jonathan, I sent Coach a link, and I don't know, he had practice, and I don't know if he had a chance to glance at it. I kind of gave him just a very, very shallow kind of point on the CBAA, and we want to get his take because he knows a little bit about it, but he doesn't know a whole lot about it. So why don't you go ahead and tell Coach about what we are trying to accomplish, and really what we've done this season, and then what we anticipate next season, especially in the state of Ohio and Kentucky.
Yeah, so the whole concept here, it kind of got formed just by our two squads. Friends, foes, whatever you want to call them, good competition. And we were in Vegas one year, and we were both frustrated. 2 years ago. Yeah. We were both frustrated with how things were going. So Mark calls me. He's like, hey, let's meet downstairs. Let's grab something to eat. I got an idea. I said, oh, boy, here we go. What's Mark going to come up with this time? And we grab a couple scratch pieces of paper and a pen, and he starts writing out this concept of head-to-head bowling with other schools in college. I'm like, I'm all in on this. So we took the framework there and, kind of just would touch base on it, massage it over the course that next year. Then we get to this year, and we ran a couple tests of what would it look like? What could we do for formats? What could we do for scoring? How can we produce a mono-e-mono style format for collegiate bowling, just like what exists in almost all your other collegiate sports, right? Where you have home and homes and conferences and things like that. So we've ran a couple tests until this point. Both me and Mark have done a home and home. Mark had a crosstown with Oklahoma Christian. We had a home match against Drury University as well here in Dallas. And they've proved a couple things to us. One, these student athletes love competition. If they have more opportunities to get reps in a competitive environment, they want it. But the head-to-head matches also gives them a chance to experience different things on the lanes, but it also allows a coach to use more of their roster as well. You just talked a few minutes ago with Mark about some of these rosters are comprised of some younger student athletes, and there's nothing better for them than competition reps. And for us to have a format where we can maybe utilize them more than what you could in traditional, barring you can only have 5 bowlers bowling at once in a traditional, there's advantageous reasons to do that. And so what this match is comprised of is 3 periods of competition. You have a singles, a doubles, and a Baker team. And so for the singles, I select 4 players. Mark selects 4 players. They have round robin play against each other. And then the top player from each of our programs bowls a fifth game showcase match. And then in doubles, it's the same thing, but you have 4 doubles pairings. So now I have 8 athletes each going at the same time, round robin, top doubles team from each program. It's a 5th game showcase match. And then at the end, we do 10 Baker games. And we started out with total pinfall, but we have found that there are some gaps or some holes.
There's a better way to do it.
So now we have a point system to where basically on those round robin games, each time a player wins, there's a certain amount of points assigned, and then the showcase matches are worth a little bit more, and then each of the Baker games is worth a point or a couple points. And what we figured out at the end was your score ends up like a college basketball score, almost like 98 to 94, things like that. But what's important is you develop a win-loss record with teams within a geographical conference. And the goal at the end of all of this, if we could, get this in certain regions to be successful, is to eventually have a 64-team March Madness style bracket to determine a true college bowling national champion.
Utilizing this format.
Yes. Did I cover all your major points?
Yeah.
Mark's usually the one that delivers that explanation.
I wanted you to do it. And here's the thing, right? When I did this and the idea and concept that I came up with, I mean, my roots go way back, having been a youth player. I've been a member of the PBA. I've bowled competitively, but my background is basketball and ice hockey. And I spent a tremendous amount of time from an athletic standpoint in school versus school rivalries. I mean, huge home games, huge road games, and that just didn't exist. And the frustration came down when we were in Vegas 2 years ago, and there were 10,000 bowling balls everywhere. My AD was asking me, well, who did you beat? Well, we didn't beat anybody because we didn't bowl anybody. Well, who did you bowl? Well, we just bowled 60 other teams that were there. Well, wait a minute. You didn't bowl any of them? No, not really. It's whoever knocks down the most pins. So I was just like, there's got to be a better way that is better for the programs from an economic standpoint. Because I spent $12,000 to go to Vegas. It's ridiculous the amount of money that I spent on that trip. To what? Get a few extra points in the rankings when they take the top 80 anyway? So there's got to be a better way, right? The second thing was the engagement with the student athlete. What is the student athlete truly getting out of this by holding a clipboard or an iPad and getting a fill ball every now and then? Not much. They're just waiting in the wings for their opportunity. And then the third thing was, hey, look at the value that you're bringing to the programs, because now you have a brandable digital asset product that there's strength in numbers to where you can actually revenue share if these conferences and matchups were formed. All right. And that's never been done in college bowling. There's never been any kind of revenue share. Nobody's even thought of that. So we tested it. There are schools in Ohio that are going to be having matches next year. There are schools in Kentucky that are going to be having head-to-head matches. And Northwestern Ohio is actually going to make a road trip down to Oklahoma City and actually compete against us. All right. Now, we know there are challenges, especially with the NAIA schools and the constant change of the environment with the NAIA schools, the limitations that they have with 14 events. And from what I understand, they're going to be increasing the number of NAIA only events in 26, 27. But at the same time, hey, if you want to have a home and home with a school that's geographically located near you, we want you to utilize this organization in this format. But you take out those NAIA schools, that leaves over 100 universities across the nation that could benefit this from an economic standpoint, from an engagement standpoint, and from a revenue standpoint, because now you have strength in numbers. Not only that, okay, you have 4 players in singles, 8 players in doubles, that's 12, and then you can use up to 8 players in Baker. That's 20 potential players that you could utilize in every single match. And oh, by the way, you're going to be sitting in class, guess what? Oh, yeah, we're going up against DBU tonight. We got a home game. Typically, the matches take about 4 hours. We've got it kind of very smooth and concise to where the match is going to take about 4 hours. All right? Competitiveness, low cost, low travel time, and an environment that is in a competitive format that the general public and bowling fans and sports fans can actually follow and become engaged in. So what do you think, Coach?
Yeah. I definitely think it's a good idea. From how you guys describe it, from like an admin standpoint, kind of like you said, it gives, our bosses kind of an idea of going, hey, like we're playing, like instead of me going to them saying, yeah, we're bowling, 30 different teams this weekend, and we're not actually beating any of them. We're kind of just doing our best and hoping for the best. It's kind of just like, yeah, we have a head-to-head matchup against this team or that team locally, or maybe highly ranked team, and getting wins over that it will help them maybe understand it bowling on a better side, just because from the experience from what I hear from a lot of coaches, sometimes admin have a good idea of how bowling works, and sometimes they don't, and just making sure that they kind of more of like a head-to-head situation where you can kind of have people come out, watch it, kind of understand how everything goes, and simplify it a bit more with just like, hey, we got one team here, they're going head-to-head in all these areas. I definitely think it hits all the points that you're kind of going over when it comes to engagement, travel time, with a lot of teams, most likely doing it more local. Like for us, we have the teams closest to us. We got like Culver Stockton about 45 minutes away, Lindenwood and Missouri Baptist about 2 hours away. Like those are the kind of teams we would do this against, and they're teams that everybody knows, and would definitely get a lot of interaction and engagement when it comes to head-to-head matches, whether it's here or there. So
all right, I'm going to throw. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm going to throw up a graphic here. Okay. Now, when I initially did this, I actually formed 18 different conferences across the nation. Okay. And I formed these conferences based upon geographical location and what the current ranking was, because you don't want to put, teams in a conference where one team's just going to run away with it the entire time. So when I did it for you, you were in the River Valley Conference, which consisted of Quincy, Milligan, Culver Stockton, Spoon River, and Black Hawk Technical College. Now, from a geographic location, those are all close to you, are they not?
Yeah, they are.
All right. Then the conference that is next to you is the Blue River Conference, which had McKendree, Lindenwood, Missouri Baptist, and Central Methodist. Mm-hmm. So you can actually schedule out of conference head-to-head matches and still have that added to your win-loss record. We are not trying to take anything away from what is currently being done. We're trying to make college bowling better by adding this head-to-head competition to what schools are currently doing, because you're not going to have to spend $12,000 like what I did to go to Las Vegas to have a home-and-home series with McKendree or Lindenwood or Culver Stockton or whoever. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think on a financial side, it would help a ton. A reason why we don't go to Vegas is just for that exact reason. It's just really expensive. And, being able to go to a couple tier ones, go to a couple tier twos, fill up the schedule, but also, fill up the schedule with, matches with teams that are local to us, and, still have it feel like it matters or helps us out in that way when it comes to rankings, would be great. It gave kind of like you said, more opportunity for the bigger programs with bigger rosters to utilize them more and have everybody feel more engaged as the day goes on, because they get chances to bowl. Whereas, maybe sometimes, when athletes travel, they may feel like they don't get to travel as much depending on what team they're on. And so I definitely think on that side, when it comes to like team engagement and, overall, just, team positivity, I think it would definitely be on the more positive side, helping out the guys, making sure they can get as much competition in. Because same thing with my team, we had our tournaments canceled. It was supposed to be the Kansas City tournament, at the end of January, right. And they do two tournaments in one weekend. And so I basically had to scramble to figure out, at least one tournament over the last 2 weekends of the year, let alone maybe if we can get two in, awesome. But, we have to get at least one in, to get up to like 9 events. And luckily, there were a couple, Hawkeye and co-college, they were running events and they had spots opening, and so we were able to go up there. But because we don't, we're on the wait list for the Hoosiers still. So
yeah.
And so luckily we were able to get in there, but it'd be so much simpler, kind of like you said, where like, maybe you do like, 6, 7, 8 events, all around the country. You get, and then you get, 3 or 4 conference tournaments or 3 or 4 conference matches, with schools that are around you that, that'll still apply maybe to points, or even just, still not even apply to points, but just, influence, rankings at the end of the year when it comes to like sectionals and stuff like that. And will still influence, kind of like you said, like the rankings when it comes to the 64-man bracket. Because, I feel like, for the 64-man, I think you should do this. You should do the same thing that USBC would do the other way around, which is take everything into account. Don't just take the head-to-head matches into account when it comes to, making the 64 the way that I would say like the USBC shouldn't, just take those USBC tournaments into account. For if everybody's doing them, you might as well combine them all together and take into account for both things when it comes to sectional selection and your ranking for the 64-man. If you're 0-3 in conference, but you've won, but you're we're 3rd in points for the USBC, but we went 0-3 in our conference tournaments. Like, I mean, we should have a low. Does that mean we should have a low seed for our 64-man bracket? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But if it's the same thing as if we're 25th in points, but we're 4-0 in our conference record, I feel like we're a little bit better than 25th overall in the country. That 4-0 record should, depending on who we bowl, should probably be taken into account where we're ranked at the end of the year. So
I think one other thing, Mark, and I'll interject here real quick because I know we're going to go with this. Yeah. But since Kyle, we alluded to it at the beginning, we talked about he had to battle the whole Newman home field crowd there. Think about when you have these head-to-head matches, the community involvement you can get with your own university, your own student body, your home center, where all of a sudden you have that ability too, because quite frankly, very few teams get to bowl an event in USBC Collegiate in their home center, and they don't get to use their crowd or their environment to really drive something engaging for the university. And so I see it from a side of that as well, that we can bring other athletic teams out. Mark set up bleachers when we had the matches up there, and it just allowed it to just it felt more like an arena style environment. And as bowlers, I think that's what we all want too.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah, it's cool. The other thing is too, Jonathan and I were talking about March Madness, the selection show that's going to take place in 2 weeks. Now we would truly have an invitation-only 64-team bracket-style national championship of where you potentially, based upon your seed, would actually earn a home match the first 2 rounds based upon your performance. I mean, come on. It's just like every other competitive college sport that's based upon school versus school. And I really believe that's the way it needs to be. Yeah. Singles, doubles, Baker team. We're making it better. We're making it affordable. And we're just, I think we're doing the right thing, man.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, we just did like an inter squad tournament last week during our practices just to get some competition in, before sectionals. And that's the exact format we used. Like we did singles Tuesday, we did doubles Wednesday, we did Baker team on Thursday. Yeah. And the way I determined a winner was like total overall average between each individual, added it all up, team average, that was your winner. So that's how we did, like, that's just how we did our inter squad, just based off of like, hey, what's something engaging? I can get it to where like, even if you bowl a bad day or have a bad set one day, you can still come in focused and try your best and, help the team out the best way you can throughout the rest of the week. And, I feel like the guys loved it. They really enjoyed, competing against each other. And so we're definitely going to do that moving forward.
All right, cool. Jonathan and I both would like feedback now that you have a really good idea from what we've described as far as the format. Get with your players and let me know what your players would think about having singles, doubles, and Baker team and going head-to-head, school versus school.
I can already tell you they'd love it. I mean, I can already tell you, like, if I told them, like, hey, we're going up to, or if we're going down to Lindenwood or we're going up to Culver Stockton and we're doing like a head-to-head match, like they'd be like, I'm ready. Like, let's do it.
Cool.
You know, like they're going, like they're you know, they're getting, you know, hyped about it, you know, because they like that kind of competition. They love the head-to-head stuff, and so they would absolutely, you know, jump at the chance, like, because other than, you know, the inter squad that we did, they're like, hey, can we do a scrimmage? Like they were begging for a scrimmage with another team, you know, and it essentially, the, you know, what you guys are trying to do would be on par with that, but just more official, more rules, more everything, which is something like our team was already, you know, screaming for, you know, and it would definitely be something that they would totally enjoy, you know, over the course of an entire day. And like I said, financially wise, you know, we don't have to spend, you know, 4 days, you know, 4 or 5 days, you know, is sometimes, you know, like going to Vegas, you know, in a hotel and spending food every day or anything like that. It's just be able to drive up 2 hours and drive back later tonight, or
that's it.
Hang out, maybe grab some snacks for the guys, and we're good. You know,
that's it. All right. And hey, it's only 8 lanes too. It only takes 8 lanes.
Yeah, that easy.
That easy. All right, Coach, man, we really appreciate you taking time out. I know you're swamped, and good luck this weekend with the NCAA women's team, and then best of luck to you at the sectional in Smyrna, and hopefully we will see you soon. I feel very confident I'm going to run across and cross paths with you on the recruiting trail.
No,
so
absolutely.
I remember seeing you at some of the Recruit Us stuff that went on, but I'm telling you, tell your squad one of the best stories in college bowling this year was what they did in Wichita, Kansas. And we greatly appreciate you taking time out. So nice job, Coach.
Thanks. They really, Wichita was a special week for us as well, just because I'm a Wichita alum. Yeah, I graduated. I graduated in the spring of 22. Coach Rick was my head coach when I graduated. You know,
that makes it even better.
Yeah, and so like the week leading up is always something fun. They like to call it Wichita Week, because again, like they know I'm an alum. They know every time we go there, I'm high-fiving everybody and talking to all the players and the teams. And this year was the first year that everybody who was on the team with me aged out, and so I was never on the team with anybody on the team currently. And so I got to talk to obviously Coach Rick and a couple of the guys who were in town because they're local, but. They definitely, seeing the mid-state, the traveling trophy, that big monstrosity, seeing that, in our little trophy room rather than behind the glass it's been at Wichita State for God knows how long, when I was a student there, feels pretty good,
Yeah.
definitely weird experience not seeing it behind glass, but it's definitely great to see. So, but cool I really appreciate you guys having me on. Good luck to both of you guys as well. At sectionals, if you guys need anything, just let me know. Let me know if you guys need anything else.
All right, cool. We'll be in touch, man.
Absolutely. You guys have the rest of your night. All right.
Take care. All right. How about that? A Wichita State grad. I had no idea.
You didn't know that?
You
didn't do your research, Mark?
I graced over that one. So give me some grace.
I knew because the same years I was at OC, he was at Wichita.
Really?
The same exact years, yeah. So
I can't imagine what the feeling was like knowing that. All right. I'm an idiot for not looking that up, but I mean, I wasn't really into it, the college game back then.
No, yeah, that's right.
I wasn't really around it. Now, I got crushed by Steele Smith in regionals and out on tour and all that and everything. But
no, a lot of people did.
Yeah, I don't think I flied solo on that one. But man, good for him. 3rd year, he's got stuff going on there. Massive challenge. People have no idea what Coach is going through, and Coach Hayes going through the same thing, and any other coach out there doing the NCAA.
And even harder for him, because you heard him reference it. He's got to use volunteer assistants, and that's never easy as well.
No,
if you don't have help with the dedicated staff, and I mean, it's hard enough to even think about the schedule, but having to actually sit there and do it, I'm good. Mark, we live in a different world. We do that for a reason.
Good guess, man. I'm glad we were able to set that up. And I tell my kids all the time, look, in this format, you're not bowling against anybody but yourselves. That's it. It makes no difference who's on the leaderboard because you control your own destiny. Yep. Agree?
100%. I agree.
So that's that's kind of the mindset that we're trying to get into. And sometimes it is very challenging for student athletes that are young and have not been placed in that position before, because youth bowling is so much different than college bowl. All right. But we're going to try. We're going to try, man. I know you guys are too.
Giving you an update, Mark, your Sooners are winning 1-0 right now. So top of the
Is that on ESPN Plus?
It is.
All right. I may have to check it out. Man, once the season's over, I would love to go to a DBU game before a tournament. Like if they play on a Friday or something like that, come down.
Hey.
All right. Did you take care of me?
Give me a call.
Did you take care
I got
of
you.
Yet?
Ordered. On the way.
On the way. Are they Nike or are they Under Armour? Do you know if the hockey is? What is the hockey team?
So we will all be Nike in the fall, but we have we order some Bauer stuff as well. So.
Oh, that's even better. That's actual hockey stuff.
Actual hockey stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Nike actually bought Bauer at one time. And Easton actually bought, I don't even remember what the other company was.
It's interesting because I know you've done this too, because we all order gear for our teams and go through that stuff every year. Yeah. It's amazing how these companies buy up each other and then they split off again, and certain vendors carry these brands and not others. It's just a cluster sometimes, but
they're making money. They wouldn't do it if they weren't making money. I mean, that's what happens when you got a hoodie that retails for $60. $60. Are you kidding
And that's cheap for a hoodie.
$60? What is it? Gold plated? Are the strings like gold?
Carbon fiber infused.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, but whoever would have thought you'd pay $125,000 for a bass boat? Your guys, they got those. Do they not?
They do.
Did they get their rod and reels back?
Negative.
Dude, you got to take care. You know what somebody told me? He said the reason that they haven't asked for them is because they don't need them. Because they're all bait cast reels rather than spinning rod and reels. Because the only thing that anybody uses anymore is a spinning rod and reel, because they're all live scopers.
Yeah, well, yeah, scopers, right, Mark?
Scopers. Yeah, that was funny, man. That was hilarious.
Hey, are you a scoper?
Yeah. Huh? Oh, well, is there anything but? I caught a 12-pounder yesterday. You got to see, now that you oversee those guys, you got to get it in the note, Jonathan. How many members are there on the DBU bass fishing team?
I believe there are 15.
15? Do they have a minimum roster? Do they have a maximum roster?
I don't think so. It's just whatever they can go get with, I guess.
A guy like us?
Yeah.
We just go with what we got.
Go with what you got. Recruit what you can find. Put together the squad you want to assemble.
All right. Here, I'm going to do something, and we'll see how close we get. And hang on, I got to pull it up here. All right. Give me your U.S. Open winner pick, and we'll see how well we.
Can I look at the leaderboard?
Oh, yeah.
Allow me to look at the standings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Be my guest.
Not that that's going to help me. There's a lot of bowling left, but let's see. Is day one over? No, they're still bowling the last part of the squad right now. All right. You want me to go first?
Yeah. Give me 2 names. And we'll see who does better. 2 names.
Okay, I got one.
Okay, give me your favorite. Here, we'll do this. Give me your favorite and then give me an underdog.
What's considered an underdog? Hasn't won a tour title in years?
Somebody that may have been struggling for a while and it really hasn't performed well last year or maybe the previous year.
Can I give you 3? My A level, my B level, my C level.
Okay, we'll do that. And then we'll see who has the lowest point total wins.
Okay.
Based upon
my A level
is
Simo.
Okay.
I think Simo's going to do it this year. My B level is the Flash, Jason Sterner, because I always trust him at U.S. Open and Masters tournaments because he just always seems to be a factor.
Okay.
And then my C level is going to be AJ Chapman.
Okay. And they cut to the top 36, I believe, after 18 games. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe that is correct. Yeah, it's 36.
And then they cut to 24, and then I think.
So right now the cut line's at plus 59.
All right. Here's my A. My A, Ethan Fior.
Okay.
Are you writing these down? Hopefully.
We have the video to remember, Mark. We can go back and look at it.
Okay. My B guy, and don't argue with me because he struggled last year. My B guy, I'm trying to see where he is. Ooh. My B guy's Chris Prather. Okay.
Friend of the show.
And then here is my big time underdog. Don't know if you've ever heard of him. You should. Ethan Kraus.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that name?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's my 3. Fior, Prather, Kraus.
I know we've been broadcasting, so I don't know if you've watched much of C Squad, but a name that just popped up because I accidentally clicked on the live scoring first.
Yeah.
That I just saw bowling. Robert Smith, Oxnard, California.
He's bowling?
He is.
One of the few seniors that are bowling. I know Tom Hess is bowling.
He's minus 10 through 5 games, so he's actually bowling pretty decent too. Maximum Bob. Still one of the best games on.
Oh, no doubt.
On tour, especially on the senior side.
Did you see Hayden Stippich, the dude that made the show last week? You talk about the struggle bus. Wow.
Uh-oh. Oh,
keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, I got it. Hey, did you see there's only been one 300 game. Did you see what ball was used to shoot the 300 game?
Concept?
A hammer axe.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep, Hammer posted it this afternoon on their social media pages.
What color? Which one was it?
I didn't look that. It was just the dark. I think it's the dark colored one.
Charcoal.
Yeah. Hammer axe for the 300.
That is a bad dude right there.
What's his name? Tom Hinkum.
Hakeem. Toon Hakeem.
Okay.
Did he end up plus?
Shooting 300.
He's in second. He's 217 over.
Hammer axe, baby.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check.
I wonder how many games he threw it.
Don't know.
From Malaysia.
Hey, I'm sure he's gonna be throwing it on Thursday on the 35 foot.
I would hope so.
Somebody needs to ask him a question. You gonna use it on Thursday?
Oh, geez.
All right, man. Great show. Want to thank Coach for taking time out. His very, very busy schedule, Coach Egan.
I have one additional question for you before we go, because it was a hot topic on Facebook this week. Do you believe that a spot should have been exempt for Brandon Bonta to bowl the U.S. Open this year?
No.
Okay.
You want to know why?
Sure.
Because rules are rules. The field is set. If he doesn't bowl 300 and win, would he be in the field?
I agree with you. I'm on your side on this one, Mark.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of conversation.
Why would you give him a spot just because he did? Look, let's not take away from what he accomplished. That might be the greatest rookie television show performance in the history of bowling.
Oh, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. I don't think you can.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean that, rules are already set up. The field is already structured in a way, you know, and it's not a PBA event. It's done by the USBC. So it's not
Correct.
like, you know, Tom Clark could go, hey, commissioner's exemption, which he could do in PBA events.
Right.
But it is what it is. By the way, did you see some of the names that didn't make it out of the PTQ? Big names. Big names.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that hurts for tour points right there.
Big names. Anyway, fun week, man. I love the U.S. Open. I love watching the U.S. Open when it gets to match play and everything that goes on. The physical and mental agony that these players go through, it's just amazing how well the top players that win the U.S. Open, and what, Pete Weber did it 5 times. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. I believe that was
I mean,
5 times.
That's insane.
Yeah. No,
insane.
It's always one of my favorite watches because it kind of relates more to what we do on a day-to-day basis with some of the difficulty, and we've seen some of the patterns and stuff like that. And it's like you said, Mark, earlier in the show, sometimes it's good to see it be a little bit harder. See these guys struggle a little bit.
It is. And let's face it, the scores so far on the first 2 shows, it's been high scoring.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And, you know, X's sells. Remember that. Grinds do not sell unless it's the U.S. Open or the Masters. And people expect
Put that on a T-shirt. Yeah.
I'm the T-shirt guy, man. I come up with.
You are. You got all the good ideas.
Oh, by the way, Morella made another appearance today with one of our players, crushing it.
What ball?
The new Black Widow. The purple one. What is that?
Yeah, Dynasty.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was and people won't even know what I'm talking about here. It was a 55 by 1.5. 55 degrees by 1.5.
Up or down?
Up. Oh, and check this out. Do you remember the Trailblazer, the Radical Trailblazer?
The original one, the solid?
Green and silver. Yes.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The green and so I had one in the very, very back that had about 10 games on it. And I plugged it up and I go, all right, it's time to go to the lab. Let's see what I come up with. So I did a 20 by 2.5 down. Yeah. And my prediction was this ball is not going to hook until it gets to the friction.
Yeah.
And when it gets to the friction, it's going to be very smooth rather than NASCAR.
Yeah, it's going to go forward. Yeah.
Yep. So guess what it does?
Exactly that.
I was so fired up because that's the first one that I've done at that low of a degree with that much of a drop. And it was for a 2-hander, and the finger holes ended up going right above where my thumb hole was. Really close to where my thumb hole was in the ball. And the ball only had like 10 games on it. But the first couple of shots that he threw it on the pattern that we were bowling on, it was just like, ooh, that didn't hook. I go, well, get it in the friction a little bit. There's a little bit of friction out there. And when it got into the friction, flush. No left turn. We got something, Jonathan. We got something. And that was 20 by 2.5 down. 20 degrees by 2.5 down.
I have to give that one a shot. I'm going to see what happens.
Because, well, what he was wanting an ASIM Pearl because he felt like that it wouldn't be as responsive off of the friction when the burn starts taking place. Now, we're going to find out truly what's going to happen tomorrow, because tomorrow we're bowling on 39-foot, 2.12 to 1, 23 mils.
Okay.
All right. And I'm trying to simulate. I'm trying to simulate with a little hand oil and little rag. I'm trying to simulate the burn.
Okay.
right?
Let me know how that
we
goes.
know they're gonna be torched,
Right.
Unless they put 34 mils out there, and they're still gonna be torched, because then everybody's gonna throw, something that's got 500 plastered all over it.
In the absence of urethane, there's going to be some surface out there.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're doing to get ready. But I think we got to fill frames, dude. You know that. Jeez, it's the same thing. You can't have anything less than 90% on your spare percentage if you want to make the top 4. It's gonna be very, very hard to do if you're not close to the 90s.
Yep.
All right. Got my 3. Hey, are we going to put something on this? Dinner? Close?
Let's do dinner.
All right.
Steakhouse.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Hey, I missed the show last week. I'm glad we're back. This is fun.
Yep.
All right. We'll be
Lots
back.
Of fun stuff to talk about.
We will be back next Tuesday at the same time. Here, I got to get this queued up. What is going on? I'm slipping here. There we go.
Uh-oh. Take a week off and Mark's slipping.
Here we go. My tunes. Got to get my tunes. All right. Replay will be out there soon if you missed any of it. Check out the interview with Coach Egan of Quincy University. Good stuff. Jonathan, we will talk and keep digging, man. Dig in. We get ready for next
That's the plan.
All right.
That's right.
All right, everybody. That's it. We're out of here.